Hi everyone, my name is Lily and I'm the book blogger behind Utopia State of Mind, and I'm going to bring you my December wrap-up, which honestly I feel like a lot of people skip the December wrap-up because they go straight into best ofs. I decided to still do December wrap-up because it felt weird not to do the last one, but this is my December wrap-up. I read probably, did I read the least? I feel like another month I read 22 as well. At the end of December, I was really struggling. I'm gonna do a whole video about 2023 bookish resolutions or resolutions in general, and there I'll go into more kind of like what I want to accomplish and what I want to change for this channel and this person in 2023. So I won't delve too much into how I felt at the end of 2022, but it was pretty rough. So what I want to talk about are the books that I read and some of my favorites, as well as some recommendations. So in 2022 December, I read 22 books, and 60% of those books were featuring characters of color, and 23% of those books featured queer characters of color as main characters, of course. And so I want to mention some of my favorite ones, and I do want to mention some series starters to look out for, which I feel like is something that I want to kind of do more in 2023. So I first want to mention that I'm going to be featuring in this wrap-up one title, which is a HarperCollins title. HarperCollins workers are still going on strike. I feel like I've talked about that a few times on my channel. I've talked about it a lot on social media. Please follow the union. I will leave links below for their links. They've been on strike for over 30 working days, but they've been on strike since November 10th, 2022. It is 2023, and that is unacceptable. I do want to mention as well that the union specifically has spoken as well about you're allowed, or the union recommends that you can include Harper titles in wrap-ups and best of lists, but that they want you to make sure that you mention the strike kind of at the beginning, and so I'm honoring what they are asking for. I know in the past it was a little bit confusing when I first started, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that because it is very important to me. I feel like I've made a lot of videos now about how important it is to me to support the union. I went to the rally in December of 2022 and picketed with the union as well, so it is very important to me. And I only have one Harper title, so I'm just going to start with that title and then we'll move on to the non-Harper titles. It is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. I knew that this was going to be a favorite, so that's all I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to review it for the purposes of this video because HarperCollins workers are still asking us to refrain from reviews. So for example, in any best of 2022 or any future wrap-ups where I'll be talking about Harper titles, I'm just going to say them. I know normally I do little mini reviews to help you decide if you want to read them and tell you about why I love them, but I'm not going to do that because I think that still constitutes a review in my mind. So just so you know, let's move on. I really loved also Lost in the Moment and Found. I don't have my copy to share with you because it's actually on the way to the UK right now. But I really loved the latest in the Wayward Children novella series. This one was so fantastic. It was about sort of grooming as a trigger warning as well. But what I really loved about it was about personal choices. It was about kind of, can we make an informed choice, or can we make a choice without knowing all the stakes, without knowing the truth, without knowing the consequences? That was a huge question in Lost in the Moment and Found, and one of the reasons why I loved it. The next one was Alone with You in the Ether. At first, I read it and I was kind of like, oh, I don't really understand what all the hype was about. This was a really good book, but I had seen never-ending, only positive hype. But as I've had, honestly, a few weeks now since reading it or since listening to the audiobook, it has really been growing on me. It is a gorgeous, endearing, empathetic, flawed, complex look about two humans, as endearing, complex, flawed as people are, in love. And it's about mental health. It's about dealing with relationships. It's really nitty-gritty into like our personal insecurities and vulnerabilities. And it's really been a story that has been growing on me ever since I have finished reading it or listening to it, so I did want to include it in here. And the next one is Lunar Love. this one, this adult romance debut. I love this one. Not only was it about traditional Chinese zodiac approach to matchmaking, it was also about traditional versus technological for the two characters, and so this was just so sweet and I loved it. I was able to read it in December on the train a lot, for example, to the rally. And so it was such a cute book. I really liked the way that it looks at sort of, I can be a very all or nothing kind of person, and I think Lunar Love was basically speaking directly to me. It's not always all or nothing. You can work with someone, you can, you know, bend and compromise and kind of move together, be more flexible, I guess, with someone else. So that's why I loved Lunar Love. I felt like in December it was really kind of speaking to me. I love this one so much. The cover is gorgeous. And so now I want to talk about series starters I read in December to look out for, because I think that often in a series I end up loving the consecutive ones more and more. I also think, first of all, in series starters, there's a lot of work going into the foundation of the characters, the foundation of the world. And so a lot of times the things that are normally really draw me to a story, which are mostly themes, I'm a big theme person, tend to really happen in the latter half of the first book of the series because it's ramping up for the second or third book of a series. So that's why I wanted to focus on series starters that I really enjoyed, because I think it's hard to review or reflect back on just one part, like the beginning part of something, without seeing kind of the full breadth and the full scope. Also, I think it's very important to support series from the beginning. I know that some people are like, oh, I'm gonna wait till the entire series comes out before I read it, before I buy it, before I support it. I know that that's a tendency for people to have, but for publishing and for authors specifically, that is kind of like a very bad approach. Publishing authors really require and they really count on numbers, sales, buzz, promotion for series from the beginning, and a lot of times it can have the series later be canceled or there not be as much push or marketing push or whatever. So if you see a series that you are intrigued in, please support it from the beginning. That's something that I'm trying to help with this specific part of December's video, but also something that I'm going to continue talking about in 2023, which is early support of a series so that what you love or what you hope to love can continue going on. So I'm just going to mention these, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I'm interested in mentioning. I'm going to start off with the first one, which is Leviathan Wakes. I think all of the Leviathan Wakes books have been out. Tons of marketing push, tons of money. It certainly doesn't need what I'm saying from it, but I do think that since I first read the first one only, that it falls into this category for me where it's like, I liked it. I think there are a lot of interesting things that were brought up. I wish it could have been developed more, but I know will be in the future. That's kind of how I feel about some series starters, so I wanted to mention that. The next one is The Inn on Sweetbriar Lane, which is an adult romance series. I really loved it so much. It's going to be a story or a series about sisters in a family and navigating not only sister relationships but also their own romantic lives and their own lives in general. I really enjoyed that series starter. I mentioned it in a haul video, or that is forthcoming. That I have the second one and the third one will come out as well in 2023. The next one that I want to talk about is The Daughters of Izdihar, which I'm pretty sure is a series. I realize that I've said this many times where I'm like, oh, it's a series. But I'm pretty sure that it is a series. And I'm just so excited to see where the rest of the world goes in The Daughters of Izdihar. Why is this not showing up for me? Izdihar. Yes, it is a duology. Thank God. I was like, this is definitely a series. I keep mentioning it. Anyway, I'm very excited to see where it goes in the second half of the duology, just because I thought really important questions about privilege and about realizing our own place in a society where certain people are less privileged than us is a very important conversation that happens in this book. Certainly as well, the conversations about women's rights and also human rights is a huge conversation in this. So love the beginnings of those conversations, and I can't wait to see how they develop. The next one is Spice Road, which, similar to The Daughters of Istahar, talks a lot about recognizing your own place in a privileged society, your own place of privilege, but also, I was going to say conspiracies, but also the way that the world is constructed for certain groups of people and for certain groups of information to spread about our world and about questioning everything. That those conversations actually resonated the most with me in Spice Road, but they're more developed in the latter half of the book. But I think that they're going to kind of just explode with color in the sequel. So Spice Road, and the last one in this section is Silver Flame Like Night. I am very excited for this one, mostly because how do I talk about it without spoiling it? I loved the character journeys going on in the book. One in a way that I knew predictably that I was gonna like, and another one in a way that I never knew was gonna happen, which ended up totally sealing the deal on my love for this first book in the series. So definitely check out and support those series from the beginning, like I am trying to do. And yeah, that will bring me to the end of my December wrap up. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'm very excited to kickstart the best of 2022 content that I want to give to you, and the rest of my 2023 content. So for January-ish and maybe February, I'll be sprinkling the best of 2022 content. I don't want to only do best of 2022. It'll be interspersed with hauls or just other content in general. As I said, my 2023 resolutions. So that's what you can look forward to from me in the 2023 year. I know that I took kind of a hiatus in December on YouTube, for example. I had stuff filmed, but I totally did not have any time to edit. So you'll also have seen very old videos from me in 2022, in 2023. And yeah, I'm excited for going into 2023 and specifically talking about my resolutions with you, because I think I'm going to go in a direction that people may not be expecting. So anyway, have a great reading day, week, month, or start of your 2023 year, and I hope to see you next one.